Good morning, beloveds. There was soccer going on in the park, and they started early, so like the squirrels were like, no, not today. I mean, there were a few, and we saw one blue jay the entire day. Just one. And she was kind of on that last loop, and I didn't see the blue jay, and Tom did, and I got two pictures, and because Tom threw the peanut, there was water coming across the path out of one of the houses that backed up to the neighborhood or to the park, and he threw the peanut in the water, and I was like, "You're gonna make the blue jay get their feet wet." Blue jay didn't care, so oh well. So instead, I will have a catter day and cuddle with the fur babies, of which Sugar is dashing in and out of here like a crazy person, and Foster's laying over here on the couch with me. So, but we have an interesting title today, so let's get on with it. It is September 2nd. Our title is Fear. Our author is Augusta E. Rundel, and this is from Science of Mind, February of 1930. So let's see what Augusta? I don't know. I've never met anybody named that, so I don't know how to pronounce it. What she has to say. Fear is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, which is so subtle in its influence that it wraps itself about us, befogs our reason, clouds our vision, and dulls our hearing, rendering us unable to get the proper perspective of life. We are told that what we fear comes upon us, but what we are not shown is that what is known as fear produces a mental pattern or mold, which creative mind fills, producing on the physical plane that which we have so perfectly pictured on the mental, and that since thoughts manifest, we thus defeat our purpose. We would not set out a copper kettle for the milkman to fill with milk, knowing that the copper would pollute the milk and render it unsafe for use. And yet this is exactly the thing that we do mentally. We put out a mental mold of failure and expect success to manifest. As long as fear remains intangible, it is elusive and goes on with its destructive force without a realization of its power. Let us make a mental effort to drag this subtle thing out of its subjective hiding place and focus the light of our objective reasoning upon it. Let us mentally create an embodiment. Picture it as a monster, big and weird, with numerous claws, devouring all of the sweetness and vital force within us and depleting our vitality. Having been brought into a realization of its deadly power, we could then, in our imagination, take a mental club, drive out this grotesque apparition, close the gate of understanding against us, and thus rid ourselves of it for all time. I mean, that's one way to do it. I was not expecting that. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Sometimes you read these and you're like, I mean, fear's kind of an ominous title, so I was expecting something about fear, and the first part of it, she's like, look, you know what, it creates this we call it, what we would call it today, is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like we are so busy rehearsing all of the things that could go wrong that we forget to rehearse the things that could go right, and so fear just kind of erodes everything out from under us, and then we wonder why we fail. And so it's like, it's been a thing lately, just in the last, I don't know, couple of years, where I've noticed people who we're always preparing for what could go right. What about preparing for if everything went, if we're always preparing for what could go wrong, and we call it practicality, but what if we practiced for what could go right? What if we expected everything to go right? Which is literally the basis of Science of Mind. Let's know that everything's going to go well. It's like, let's trust that we have the skills to handle things as they come at us, so we don't have to constantly rehearse for all of the things that could go wrong. It's like, we are well prepared, we are well skilled, we have all of the things that we need to meet the challenges. So when things don't go quite the way we expected, we can roll with that. We can do that. We can trust ourselves. The meme that I saw that said, the bird doesn't worry about the branch breaking beneath him because the bird trusts their wings. And that's kind of that's where Augusta's going with this whole fear thing. It's like fear becomes this little niggling thing that just eats away at, as she said, the sweetness of life. Because we're constantly afraid of, and they're shadows. They're shadows until we put power behind them. And then they become real. And she's like, all right, well, fine. Let's make it, let's drag this thing out into the light. Let's drag this thing out into the light and really take a look at it. And two things will happen. One, the fears will evaporate as mists before the sun because there's nothing to fear. Or, she's like, let's drag it out, create it, make it just as big and ugly, and then take our mental club. I love that she uses a club, and I'm like, I'd take a sword, but that's just me. And drive it out. Drive it out. Don't put up with it. She's effectively saying, don't put up with it. It's like, let's drag all of the things that you're afraid of. Because there's, I forget what class it was in, but they were talking about, well, let's play the what if game. Let's run it out to worst case scenario. Well, what's the worst that could happen? Well, can you handle that? And so she's kind of doing the same. What's the worst that could happen? Can you handle the worst that could happen? And you are a beloved child of God. You have all of the power of God at your disposal should you choose to use it. Therefore, no matter what happens, you're going to be able to handle it. You are absolutely going to be able to handle it. And you have a support network of godlings around you that will lend you their support if you ask. And sometimes they'll lend it even if you don't ask, but it's always good to ask, So it's like, no matter what happens, so then why are you letting fear erode what it is that you really want in your life? That's what she's saying. Drag it out into the light of objective reasoning. I was not expecting this reading. Okay. So that first paragraph. Fear is a state of mind, a state of consciousness, which is so subtle in its influence that it wraps itself about us, befogs our reason, clouds our vision, dulls our hearing, renders us unable to get the proper perspective of life. And that right there, that is the power of fear. It just gets in the way, and we can't see what's truly going on. That's one of the reasons why, if you are in fear, it's helpful to go to talk to somebody else. It's like, look, you know what? This is going on. I don't think I'm seeing things the way they should be. And you can either ask people, it's called the blanket or the sword. You talk it out and they just listen and they're compassionate. And so you kill the power of what it is you're afraid of by dragging it out into the light. Or you can say, if you want the sword, then they will offer solutions. They will help you fix it. And because, which one do you need? Sometimes we just need to be heard. Sometimes we just need to air the fears so that we can look at them and go, no, you know what? I'm being ridiculous here. And they don't even have to say anything. They're just listening. They're that sounding board listening to you. Or sometimes you really do need their help. Because you are, what did she say? You are unable to get the proper perspective on life. So, and I did not know that copper was bad for milk. That is very interesting. I'm glad to know that. It makes sense though, because the copper salts would leach out because milk is slightly acidic. Interesting. Okay. And yet this is exactly the thing that we do mentally. We put out a mental mold of failure and expect success to manifest. We're so busy practicing for all of the things that could go wrong that we forget to focus on what could go right. And you remember, where your focus goes is where your power goes. Where your attention goes is where your power goes. It's an old lesson from defensive driving. It's like where you're looking is where your car is going. Okay, remember that. But then she dives right into it. As long as fear remains intangible, it is elusive and goes on with its destructive force without our realization of its power. It's like mice in the pantry, nibbling holes into everything, and then you pick the bag up and everything falls out. Let us make a mental effort to drag this subtle thing out of its subjective hiding place and focus the light of our objective reasoning upon it. So she says this. Let's drag this thing out of its subjective hiding place and focus the light of our objective reasoning on it. Okay? Let us mentally create an embodiment. Picture it as a monster, big and weird, with numerous claws, devouring all the sweetness and vital force within us and depleting our vitality. Picture the monster that is eating you. And then, having brought to a realization its deadly power, we could then, in our imagination, take a mental club, drive out this grotesque apparition, close the gate of understanding against it, and thus rid ourselves of it all time. One of the classes that I took in ministerial school, and it was one of the psychology classes, and I don't remember the name of it, but what I do remember is in the book they were talking about, and I don't remember the author, but it was Free Yourself from Pain, I think was the book that we read. And that's what they were talking about, how you can use your mental state, your imagination to support your immune system. They told stories of how people would imagine, like military people would imagine the cancer as enemies, and then they would imagine their immune system, their immune cells as soldiers, and the soldiers were going in and taking out the enemy. And then another one, who was somebody who particularly enjoyed like dragon and knights and dragon stories. They would imagine the cancer cells as dragons, and then they would imagine their immune cells as knights, and the knights would go out and slay the dragons. That is how powerful our imagination is. And so Augusta is encouraging us to use our immune system to drag the fear that has just got all of its little tendrils into it, drag it out into the light and banish it, and then close the gate of understanding behind it. It's like, look, once you understand the source of your fear, it ceases to be fear. I'm always reminded, it was a terrible movie by Will Smith. And he's talking to his son in the movie, who was his actual son. And he says, do not misunderstand me. The danger is real. Fear is a choice. And she's telling us the same thing. You can make a different choice. Drag it out into the light. Take a good look at it. And then trust yourself and trust the source of your own being, that no matter what happens, you will be able to handle it. All right. She's got so many great lines in here. So many great lines. So, the mission today, should we choose to accept it? Well, yeah. I'm going to cut two lines together because they're such good lines. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to drag the subtle thing of fear out of its subjective hiding place and focus the light of our understanding, our objective reasoning upon it, and close the gate of understanding behind it. Okay? Drive it out. Drive it out. That was pretty incredible. 1930. Yep. All right. That is the mission today. Let's drag it out of its subjective hiding place, subject it to the light of our objective reasoning, and then close the gate of understanding behind it. In the end, what she is saying is trust yourself and trust the source of your own being. No matter what is going on, you can handle it. God will give you everything you need, including the support network, if you're willing to listen and ask. Okay? All right? That's the mission. The other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. And honestly, when you're dealing with fear, one of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things you can do for yourself is find a way to kill its power. Okay? If you decide to make it into the monster that like she suggests, or if you decide to go and say, hey, I need to talk about this, and tell somebody, I just need to vent, I need to kill the power of this, or tell somebody, hey, this thing's really got a hold of me, can you listen and see if you can see something I'm not seeing? It's clouding my judgment. It's clouding my perspective on life. Sometimes that is the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do for yourself. Now, your practitioners are always available for that. That is what we are trained to do. But you don't have to just use a practitioner, Sometimes a good friend who listens to you, who lovingly listens to you, that can be the best thing that you need. Sometimes with my prayer partners, that's exactly what it is. It's like, I just need to talk about this. I'll see my own solution. I just need to hear it out loud. And so all they have to do is listen. Now, we both walk away knowing what we're going to treat for, but you know what I'm saying? So having a good prayer partner in your life, whether they are a professional practitioner or just somebody who loves you, is super important. So I highly encourage it. One of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things you can do is to have, and not just one prayer partner, a couple of different prayer partners, and sometimes it's good to have a prayer partner at a distance, because somebody who's not entangled in your life will see things that you won't see. That is definitely one of the values that I learned as a distance student, having that distance mentor who's not, involved in the day-to-day of what's going on in my life. They were able to see things a little more objectively than, people who love me and are close to me. Not that my distance mentor didn't love me, because she did and still does. So, all right. But that's what I'm talking about. Love, kindness, and compassion, practicing on yourself. Prayer partners are one of the ways to do it. Okay. It also looks like taking a deep breath before you speak. We've been talking about fear today. And so absolutely, taking that deep breath before you speak so that you don't speak out of fear, that you don't manifest out of fear. And then putting things down, taking that break. It's like you have been working on this problem, and sometimes what you need to do is put it down and walk away. So I say, take a walk, take a break, take a nap. That's all of that. The human, when electronics get weird, you say, turn them off and turn it back on. That's what a nap does. It turns you off, it turns you back on, and you might work better. So, all of those are loving, kind, and compassionate things you can do. I'm also going to tell you to eat dessert first. Sometimes the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do is to eat dessert first. I'm a firm believer that chocolate can be the first step to any solution. Okay. But more importantly than that, what it is a reminder your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. Don't save the good stuff. Wear the nice clothes now. Wear the fancy clothes now. Use the fancy dishware, glassware, stemware, silverware more than once a year. Use it on a Tuesday night, just for the heck of it. Okay? Burn the nice candles before they get sticky and old. Write in the nice notebooks. Do all of that. Your life is a special occasion, and treat it as such. Now, since I'm also talking about love, kindness, and compassion, I'm going to remind you, joy is a quality of God. Therefore, joy is a quality of you. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is going on in your life, you deserve joy. Please make room for joy. Okay? there are going to be times in all of our lives when the last thing we want to do is make room for joy. And that is exactly the time that we need to make room for joy the most. So whatever that looks like for you, and it can be little things or big things. That's what we were talking about sometimes when we get caught up in the minutiae of life, especially if it's too hot to go outside. Go and take a shower and just wash all of that away and then make room for joy. Okay? You know, right now, a good cool shower and a piece of chocolate, I can find joy in my life. And I encourage you to do the same. All right. I encourage you to practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself for a variety of reasons. One, you are your own best test subject. You get immediate feedback. Is this the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I could do? Two, I am encouraging you to create a habit, a first response, so that no matter what happens in your life or in the lives of people around you, you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. When you make that well-worn path to the source of your own being, which, by the way, is the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion, that when you meet people who need a little extra, including you, you've got plenty to spare. You know, if we talk about it like a bank manager, make friends with the bank manager. You know, the source of your own being is the bank manager. Go make friends with the source of your own being. Do it regularly. Do it every day. And the most important reason is you're a beloved child of God. You deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. Practice on yourself. All right? Okay. The rest of the suggestions are the easy ones. I say that. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. Please drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. We are still hitting the triple digits down here. And literally right now we are praying for rain. We've got some chances over the next 3 or 4 days. We would like some rain. So if you want to pray for rain for us, we'll take that. Yeah. God knows where we are. I just saw in the news where we are 13 inches behind for the year. That's bad. The trees are stressed out. We could use some rain. Not any wind, just some good rain. All right. So hydrate. Your brain works better when it's well hydrated. Your body works better when it's well hydrated. Your skin looks better when it's well hydrated. I'm trying to give you the best reasons to hydrate, right? All right. And then get that early in your day bright light. It was interesting that we got to the park just after the sun came up this morning. So it's like we got out and we could see the moon, because I didn't see the moon when it was the super moon. Like, I couldn't find it. So I was like, so I got to see it this morning. And then the sun came up, and the sun came up bright and orange, and it was fantastic. So it looks like a sunset, but it's not. It's a sunrise. So I got a moon and a sunrise. It was cool. So, yeah, early in your day, bright light, between 7 and 9 in the morning is what science says is the best time. It'll help you make vitamin D. It'll help to reset your circadian rhythms, which is a natural hormone cycle. And if you can do that, it's only 5 to 10 minutes. You know, it doesn't take long. I was in the park for over an hour, which was fantastic. It's very shady. So I wasn't getting a whole lot of direct sunlight. I got enough direct sunlight, but 5 to 10 minutes between 7 and 9. And if you can't do that, artificial light will help, but it'll reset that circadian rhythm. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. It's science. You can look it up. And if you do, circadian starts with a C. All right. I'm super excited right now. I'm also hungry, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to remind you that it's my favorite Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Okay? So she talked about fear being a state of mind. Well, heaven is too. Heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Once we learn to create it for ourselves, nobody can take it away from us. Superpower. And the most amazing thing about it is it brings to mind or brings to the forefront of our mind, to the forefront of our consciousness, that heaven ceases to be a place that we have to get to and can become any place we are when we learn to create that heavenly state of mind. It's also another one where if we want to create a world that works for everybody, we work on ourselves. I mean, that's the whole point of practitioner training, right? Whatever work you do, you're doing on yourself, because you are the only being that you can affect. Sounds weird, but follow it to the logical conclusion. I'm just going to hold the space for you. And so, when we become those islands of peace, when we walk around in that heavenly state of mind, then we become islands of calm and islands of peace where people can rest. And then we are holding up an unflickering light, and then people can see their path. Okay? We can't walk their path for them, but we can darn sure light it. So that's the work to do. And if you're working on creating this heavenly state of mind, the best way to do it, take Emma's advice, look for the good and praise it. Okay? Gratitude will absolutely get you everywhere. And there's science behind it. If you count your blessings, it will change your mood. And, if you're grumpy or not having a great day, do something nice for somebody else. Science says it's one of the best ways to change your mood. And that's as simple as smiling and offering a nice word, a good word, the good word. So, all right, that it really is that simple. Okay, I am at the part where I get to social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Please feel free to check them out. I'm trying an experiment where I've set up a reel with the titles. We'll see how that goes. And then we'll go from there, see what other reels that I can make. And we'll just see. So, all right. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, please sorry, my brain shorted out. If you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the Constant Contact. The Constant Contact will get you, when you get that, you get basically one early Friday morning, and then if there's other stuff going on. So the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll either take you right to the information you want or to the person that can help you get it. So, like, the YouTube channel, the Creative Life Spiritual YouTube channel, that hot link takes you right to the Soul Session playlist. And I am telling you, that is a fantastic playlist. If you just need something uplifting or inspiring or just to change your perspective, that's a good one to do it. All right. So now I am at the place where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a consciousness day, a objective reasoning day, a light-filled day, a unclouding our perspective day, a conscious day, a closing the gate behind it day, a catter day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are a divine spark, a brilliant light. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Get to know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being. Peel back the layers of who you have been told you are to get to know who God knows you to be. Because I can promise you that person is really cool. All right. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. And since today is Saturday, if you're watching this on a Saturday, we'll have an amazing service for you at 11 a.m. If not, you can always go to the YouTube channel and check out the Sunday service of whenever you are watching. Yeah. All right. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.